Today we're going to talk about posture and how we sit when we play an instrument. If you're going to sit at home and you're watching TV, you can do, relaxed and whatever, and it doesn't matter. But when we're going to play an instrument, we want to make sure that we sit with correct posture so that you can get a lot of air in your body to create a really good sound. So having a great sound is our goal for good posture. We're going to go through some steps of how to sit that way. So what we're going to do first of all is I want everybody to stand, and we're going to talk about different parts of our body and how they're going to work when we have great posture. The first thing is our feet. We want our feet to be shoulder width apart, and we want our feet to be flat on the ground. It's really easy to have your feet flat on the ground when you're standing, but sometimes when people sit, they cross their legs. You want to make sure when you sit down that your feet are going to be flat on the ground. So that's the first element, is your feet are shoulder width apart, and they're going to be flat on the ground. The next thing is your rib cage. And so your rib cage is basically in this part of your body, and your lungs are behind that. And your rib cage protects your lungs, but we want to make sure that our rib cage is elevated and up off of our stomach when we have good posture. And again, when you're sitting down is when you would tend to kind of let that slouch. And so if I sit like this and I try to take a deep breath of air, it's going to be hard for me to get air in my body. But if I sit really tall and I take a deep breath of air, I can get a lot of air when my rib cage is where it's supposed to be. So we've got our feet shoulder width apart, we've got our rib cage elevated up off of our stomach, and the next thing we want to talk about is our shoulders. You want your shoulders to be down and relaxed to have good posture. One goal with posture is we don't want to have tension anywhere in our body, and if your shoulders are down and relaxed, there won't be tension, and when there's not tension, that helps the sound to be better. So sometimes people, when they start to play, they get kind of tense and their shoulders start to do this type of thing, and I kind of call it the Frankenstein look. You don't want that. You want your shoulders to be relaxed. So you can kind of just roll your shoulders like this and let them stay down and relaxed. So we've got our feet flat on the ground, rib cage elevated up off your stomach, and your shoulders are down and relaxed. And the next thing is we want our back to be straight. So if I'm sitting with good posture, I want my back straight, and I don't want it to be like this or just anything else where it's going to be bending. So you want everything to be straight. So you're just standing nice and straight. So feet are flat on the ground, rib cage elevated up off your stomach, shoulders down and relaxed. And then the next thing we want to think about with after the back being straight is that your face and your neck should be soft and natural. So again, we don't want any kind of tension. That's fairly easy when you're just sitting there, but when you start to use the mouthpiece to create the sound, sometimes people have tension in their face. Like they might get this kind of look on their face, and all those wrinkles and things in your face or your neck, that's going to cause the sound not to be as good as it could. So you want everything to be just super relaxed with your face and neck. So when we have all those elements together the way they're supposed to, we want to think about sitting as if we're standing. So when I'm standing nice and tall, it's fairly easy to have that great posture. And when you go to sit down, you want to keep that same look, and you're just going to bend at the waist and your knees. Those are the only two things that should bend. Everything else is really straight. You've got that great posture, and you just sit down where you bend at the waist and the knees. The other thing that you want to think about is when you're in the chair, you don't want to be all the way back with your back against the chair. Now, I'm tall enough that my feet still are on the ground when I do this, but when I play an instrument, I scoot forward in the chair, and that helps me get that great posture that we want. So those are things that we want you to think about as you are going through posture. So I want you to stand up to show good posture first, and then show us how you can maintain that good posture when you sit down by bending just at the waist and the knees. And if you can make a video on Flipgrid for us that shows us how to create that posture, we'll know that you're set to get a great sound in your instrument. All right, thank you, everybody.